You guys.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Why are you being awkward?
I'm shy. Cool. Hi, I'm Rachel.
I am Raymond.
And we are siblings, brothers and sisters.
Hi, so my name is Lily Eno, and I guess for the purposes of today, my full name is Adidiong Lily Eno.
My name's Bettina. I'm 1/3 dad of All Purpose.
And my name's Janique, and I'm her best friend.
You're not gonna say hi?
Hi. I'm not sure.
Okay, guys.
I'm Lurleen, mother of.
Renee, I'm 1/3 of All Purpose.
Hello, my name is Chia Phoenix.
Ooh, Nigeria.
Why did you
I'm
pose that
like-
as a question? Nigeria.
Nigeria.
So I was born in Nigeria. I was born in a state called Kano, which is up north in Nigeria, but I'm actually from the southeast of Nigeria, if I got that right. So that's where I'm from originally, and that's where I grew up.
So I am born and bred in London, but both my parents come from Seychelles in East Africa.
And I'm the same. So I'm born and bred in London, but both of my parents are from Jamaica and were born there.
Okay, so originally I grew up in West London, so in West Kensington. I currently live in South London right now. And my parents, my mum is Jamaican and my dad is from St. Kitts.
Traditionally, my dad's family is from Ghana, and for my mum, were both of them from St. Vincent. But if we sort of go back a bit further, he remembers his grandmother coming over from St. Vincent, coming to St. Vincent from Ghana. So he remembers growing up and she was singing all songs to him from Ghana and teaching him little words. So that's where we're from. So Ghana and St. Vincent.
I didn't know this about all the singing. You never passed this on. I knew that you said that Granddad's mum or great grandma was from Ghana, but I didn't know this about all the singing the songs.
Yeah, she used to have little words and he used to sing songs, but I don't know because I can't remember them. He didn't remember them, but he was just telling us. And I'm sure he said that he remember coming on a boat. So I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, that's as much as I know.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm from St. Vincent and my dad's side is from Dominica.
So I was there until the age of like 10.
I was there until 8.
So I remember a lot of it. It was, oh man, it was very different from London. Definitely, it was very closed off. Very I don't know the word, honestly.
I remember it as being like we had so much space.
Yeah.
You know, so much space where we could run around and
We
like
lived in a
play.
compound.
Yeah.
A gated compound.
Yeah.
Alright, not to like blow our horns, but we're like a rich family in Nigeria.
Well off. I wouldn't say rich.
We're well off family in
We
Nigeria.
were comfortable, yeah.
Had mad space. And then
Lots of family who lived close by.
yeah, grandma used to come over all the time and she'd cook for us. Grandma's
Yeah.
food was always banging.
Funny enough, because I grew up in Nigeria, you would think I would know how to speak my language, but I don't. But I understand it so fluently that when I went back in 2019 and I was in a hair salon with other women and they were speaking my language and they didn't clock because, you know, when you go back and you have like that British vibe, they're like, oh, Oyibo babes. And then one of them must have said a joke in my language and I laughed and then they looked at me and then they were like, you understand? And I was like, yeah, so thank you for not speaking bad about me because awkward.
I feel like it was difficult growing up Black British when we were in school.
Yeah.
I feel like we were always seen as the minority, even though in our school I feel like we were the majority. I think we were always made to seem like the minority, or even just being seen as ghetto, or I guess those other stereotypes that were pushed towards Black people. And then now I think where I'm working in a school now, I see it. Don't get me wrong, there is still racism and stereotyping, but I feel like their experience is completely different to ours, I'd say.
Yeah.
It was great. At the same time, it was great. Like, you were always out, always having fun. You weren't at home, like, in your computers.
Yeah.
It was like finding little things to like play with. We had this like big Lego that we used to play football with it because we didn't have a ball.
You know, times are hard.
And then there was I remember in school we didn't have a basketball, but we had hoops, so we'd play imaginary basketball.
What?
You pass-
I do not remember any of this. What?
You pass the ball around an imaginary ball, and you shoot. You'd be like, I scored.
Sort of 18, 19, I went to work in Wimpy, and that was it's really funny because that was the biggest, most place I've been where there were so many black people.
In Wimpy.
Yeah, and it was everybody in there was black,
And they're still friends now. Like, everyone that worked together in Wimpy, like, they're still friends now.
But it was just like, oh wow, because you know you go to school and there's like one or two of you. This was like it was a sense of belonging because there were so many black people that was there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. It got you, like, you know, it got your creative juices flowing.
It did.
You know, you had to be very imaginative.
Yeah.
Because we don't always like have every single toy that we want.
No.
But I think it was just nice because we always had each other and we're like quite close in age, so we could like go outside, play with each other, play with the other people around our like compound and stuff. And that was really nice. I remember a lot of like, you know, the good times and like playing with like other kids around their state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose for you it'd be slightly different, isn't it? Because
Yeah. When I went to school, like my primary school, my secondary school, there was a lot of South Asians, and I would say, yeah, it was kind of a balance between like blacks and like whites. So I never really felt like the minority in the sense of like the majority being white. So I would say I've felt quite comfortable growing up. I grew up in East London, and it's always been like a mixture of like cultures. But then I went to like a dance school that was all like predominantly white, and I feel like that was the place that made me kind of recognize my blackness and feel a bit like unsure and a bit like, you know, you question things like your hair texture, you know, like having to wear like ballet tights that are skin colored, you know, like I feel like being in a white ballet school was where it made me realize like, oh, you're black and that's different, and maybe the world doesn't cater to you. But like growing up in school, I would say I felt quite comfortable because like people that were like not of color were like more the minority. So I felt connected to people that were like South Asian, like a lot of people from like India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. And you know, we had that culture, like we had different foods. I never felt like odd eating like a certain type of food. But then going to dancing, that's where I felt like, I want my hair to be straightened. Like we have to have our hair up in a bun. Like my hair is not gonna go up in a bun and look the same. I would say that's where I felt a bit uncomfortable. But now I feel like I kind of feel settled in like my blackness and comfortable and wanted to like learn more. For sure.
Home's in here, you know. For me, home is in here. Being somebody that has moved around a bit and lived in a few different places and felt a little bit disabled, you know, depending on the environment that you're in, I came to realize that home is actually in here. And so that wherever I rest my head, wherever I base myself, as long as there's a part of me in there, I can make home anywhere.
I feel like home is not necessarily like a location. Home is more so like the people you're surrounding yourself with sometimes. So like, for example, like you can pick, as you get older as well, you can pick your family. This is my family. So I feel like it is really like who you surround yourself with.
I think again, like you said, when you get older, it's not so much about a house or a particular area that's your home. It's the people that you can do life with and that just bring you peace and make you feel like you are home in their presence.
Yeah.
You're my home.
Oh, you're my home too.
When you're from like, you know, when you
different
weren't born
places.
here, when you're from two different places, home can have two different definitions. So if you say like, oh, I'm going home, it could mean you're going back home, like
Nigeria.
off to a different country where you were born or where your parents are from. But home could also mean, you know, London. It could mean where you live. Could mean where your friends are at. But for me, home is definitely home with my family, my mum, my brothers, and home in Nigeria as well.
That's interesting. I think for me, home was it's family 100%. But I think it's Denmark Hill, the first place that we moved to when we came to this country.
wow.
So when I think of home, I think of that house.
Really?
Yeah, it was like we were in a family for a while because Dad was not with us,
Yeah.
and then that was the first place that we came together again after like a year and a half.
Interesting.
So that felt very like we were a family again.
Yeah.
So when I think of home, I think of that.
Mm.
But yeah, but when I think of in the other second definition of home, it's not Nigeria, unfortunately, but it's not here. I don't think it's a place. I think it's a feeling. It's with who you're with.
Yeah.
So it's like I would say like with you guys, Mom, you, Angela, a dad as well. It's like that's when it feels like home.
Interesting.
I suppose home is where the heart is, and yeah, I don't know. I think if somebody says where I'm from, then I would automatically say, oh, my parents are from St Vincent because there is a tie there. As I become more aware of my ancestors and stuff, I'm longing to find out more about Ghana. So for me, it's trying to find out the whole of it. So I don't know. I think St Vincent and Ghana. I don't know, and England because I can't not have that bit as well because that's I've spent all my life here. So yeah, so England as well.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like for me, it's more of like the people that I'm around. So you, like Granny, like my sister, people, even like friends that I consider like close people, I would say the feeling of being around them is what I would associate with home. So whether that's like here or back home in St. Vincent, I would say I haven't been there enough to fully like feel like it's my home, but I know that like the community there makes me feel at home. Even like traveling to Gambia, like we're not from Gambia, but feeling like the love from black people made me feel at home. So I guess it's like a feeling of love makes me feel at home. Yeah.